Mike Bohn here in Abu Dhabi, standing with Dan Hardy, and we're going to give a little preview of UFC 242 taking place Saturday night. Dan, who has more pressure on them going into this fight? Dustin Poirier, UFC fight number 23, I believe, and he's finally getting this opportunity. I mean, he took the long road, the Michael Bisping-esque road to get to this moment. If he doesn't make it happen, who knows when an opportunity comes around like this again. And you look at Khabib, the undefeated fighter, getting basically an event built around him here, has his father in his corner for the first time as a UFC fighter. Like, there's a lot going on here. Who do you think has more weight on their shoulders here?
I think without a doubt Khabib's got the weight on his shoulders. This event is for him. He is being celebrated at this event. It's been built around him, as you said. The contender could have been anybody in this division, really. Poirier's got the interim title, which means he puts himself in a position to be here. But the key player here, the A side, is definitely Khabib, and there are a lot of pressures that come with that. The event being on his shoulders is a pressure in itself. The expectations of Khabib, not only as a champion but as an undefeated fighter. You speak to Khabib fans and the rose-tinted glasses that they wear when they look at him are so thick that you can't even see their eyes sometimes. And that's not necessarily a healthy thing for Khabib, because the expectations that they have are probably difficult for anybody to live up to. Khabib has probably got the best chance of anybody to live up to those expectations, but it still doesn't mean he's gonna feel those expectations on the night. And then the thing with Poirier is, he's got his small team here. They all believe in him. Not many other people do. He's in a kind of a win-win situation, because if you lose to Khabib, well, he's one of the greatest of all time, and that's what he'll go down in history as. And as you said, Poirier's had kind of a Michael Bisping-esque career. He's had to pick himself up after disappointing losses and get back on track. And I think that a strength of mind comes with that, an ability to adapt, and an ability to maintain confidence even through bad rounds. And you're definitely going to have bad rounds against Khabib. You'll be looking to win a round against Khabib most of the time. So I think that if you've got Poirier going in there with the mindset of, let's get through these first 10 minutes relatively unscathed, then we can start fighting in the last 3. I think that's a strong place for him to be at. And I think that he won't get discouraged if he loses a couple of rounds, because he knows he can turn it around with his work rate and his power.
Yeah, definitely. And I've actually had the chance to talk to Dustin a lot leading up to this fight. We did a weekly blog series, so I think I spoke to him almost close to 3 hours throughout this camp every single week. And the thing he talked a lot about was how grueling it was, the wrestling practices and just what it took out of him. He said it was probably the most grueling camp he's had. When you're fighting someone like Khabib, of course we know what he's going to try to do in there. He's going to try to take you down, work you on the ground. He did a lot of wrestling, Dustin. Is that how do you balance that, knowing what the guy's going to do and you need to prepare for it, but you also want to implement your game, which for him is his great boxing, and he's got a black belt, he's got the submission skills, but is it a mistake to maybe focus too much on maybe what Khabib's going to do and trying to stop that, and maybe not focusing as much on your own strength?
Potentially there is a drawback, but to be honest, I think there, so much confidence rides on the fact that you can wrestle hard if you need to, and you can work hard for a long period if you need to. He's got Sydney Outlaw over there at ATT, who's going to be a great training partner for him, a good wrestler, someone that can really push him to to the extent of his ability. So it's almost like conditioning. It's like that peace of mind that you step into the octagon with, that in the trenches you can dig deep and you can pull through. And really, it's not about beating Khabib in the wrestling exchanges. It's about outlasting the wrestling exchanges, so you can get to the rounds where you can be effective with what you do. And what is it? It's 23rd fight in the UFC now for Poirier. He knows what he's capable of. He's an excellent grappler. He's got great power. He's an aggressive, barrage puncher. He doesn't throw single power shots. He steps into his punches. He drags his hooks through his opponent. And that switch in stance as he's moving forward as well makes it very difficult to get away from him. And what we saw in the Khabib fight against Iaquinta is that you can stuff a couple of takedowns of Khabib. Even McGregor stuffed a takedown of Khabib. If Poirier watches the Iaquinta fight from the 3rd round onwards, it would fill him with confidence that he's got a good chance of replicating the takedown defense and being more effective on the feet. Iaquinta's a powerful puncher, but he throws 1s and 2s, whereas Poirier throws 10, 15, 20 punches in a row, and his confidence is only going to get better if he stuffs a takedown or 2. So get through those first 10 minutes, and then I think the fight's very winnable for him. It's just that horrendous first 10 minutes of pressure and wrestling, and trying not to take too much damage, trying not to find himself in that Robbie Lawler situation against Covington, where he burnt 10 minutes and then had nothing left to give for the rest of it. that's the challenge. And I think the heavy wrestling practices that he's done are going to put him in good stead for that.
Yeah, so ultimately, with all that said, what do you think happens? Do you think Khabib, walks out of this fight still undefeated? Do you think Dustin Poirier can accomplish this huge moment that he's been working a lifetime towards? What's the official prediction?
The safe money is Khabib by decision. There are a lot of factors that play into this. Obviously, the weight cut, the humidity in the arena is going to be something to take into account. The pressure on Khabib's shoulders, the anxiety that creates. The smart money is Khabib by decision. If I take all of those factors out of the equation, I think it's a winnable fight for Khabib over the distance. It's going to be difficult to stop Dustin Poirier. He can take a horrendous beating. He's very, very tough. He won't be giving up submissions to get out of a fight. He's come here to win or to die trying, without wanting to sound too dramatic. But the smart money's on Khabib. It's how all the other factors play into this fight, which is where it starts to elevate the possibility of Poirier getting the upset. Yeah, I think the longer the fight goes, and the more successful Poirier is in the wrestling exchanges, even if he is getting taken down, as long as he's still fighting back and working, he'll take less damage because Khabib's more focused on holding him down. And then his odds get better as the fight goes on. I feel like, what was it, 4th round against Justin Gaethje that he was able to land the shots? We know he's got power in the championship rounds, and that's what we're going to need to see if he's going to beat Khabib. So, I would like to see Khabib continually challenge with new fighters, but if Poirier wins this one, it throws a cat amongst the pigeons, and it really opens up the division, and I think everybody in the division will be thankful of that. The magnitude of the event, Khabib winning would be good for the sport, but I love an upset and I love an underdog.
Yeah, and I think Dustin Poirier is as good of a representative of MMA as there is. Great guy, does a lot of things outside of the cage. So I think having a champion like him, it can't hurt the UFC. But I think everyone wants to see that Khabib-Tony Ferguson fight after 4 cancellations. So we'll see what happens. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk about this fight, Dan. It all goes down Saturday, UFC 242. Check out all the coverage on MMA Junkie.